It's mailbag time here, and you are watching NFL Daily. Mitchell Wren's ready to answer all of y'all's questions. So whether you got a trade question, whether you got a free agency question, a draft question, I'm ready to break it all down for you. Remember, this mailbag was filmed on Wednesday, so if anything changes, don't yell at me. I'm just telling you ahead of time. Let's go to Cal the Dragon. Could the Broncos trade for Kirk Cousins because of Clint Kubiak? Now, Clint Kubiak is the new quarterbacks coach in Denver. Kubiak's done a pretty good job with Kurt in Minnesota. But also remember, when all the Kirk Cousins rumors were swirling before he went to Minnesota, a lot of people thought that he was actually going to end up going to the Denver Broncos. He does have 1 year left on his contract. Cousins is scheduled to make like $45 million if he stays in Minnesota. But I believe if Denver goes ahead and gets him, they're only going to have to pay him $35 million. So basically, 1 year deal, $35 million for Kirk Cousins. If I was Denver, this would definitely be an interesting route. There's no doubt about it. The only reason why I'm not 100% sure if they do it is because if you have a chance to go out and get Aaron Rodgers, I think you should go ahead and do that. Speaking of Rodgers, shout out to Jeff for making that. Why for yes and for no? Will Aaron Rodgers be on the Packers? Because I think if Rodgers decides to leave the Green Bay Packers, if I was Cousins, I'd be like, wait a minute. Now I have an opportunity to be the best team in this division because I don't believe in Jordan Love. I believe in Justin Fields, but the Bears are still a little bit further away than I think what Minnesota is. And then the Lions. Come on, man. Why for yes and for no? I think Rodgers is long gone. Let's go to Kevin McFlurry. What's your Super Bowl pick? Well, I wish I would have known that it was going to be Bengals and the Rams a few months ago. I would have made a hell of a bet. I bet on the Bengals to cover because they were 4-point underdogs. The over-under in this game is 49 points. All I know is this. At this current point, I have bet on the Bengals to cover the 4-point spread. But what do y'all think here? Super Bowl prediction. Type R for the Rams. Type B for the Bengals. Let me know down in the comments section who you got. I'm going to type my B for Cincinnati, though I also wouldn't mind to see Matthew Stafford win a Super Bowl. It'd be a really cool story from top to bottom, and the fact that the Bengals were the number one overall pick back in 2019 is an absolutely incredible story. I think the ratings will be down a little bit, but I'll enjoy watching this game. I'm going to type B for Bengals, but you guys can let me know who you got. Jacob Raleigh, what up? I also see we got a super chat from Taylor Holland, which we will get to. Who is your top second-year breakout candidate for next year? Rashod Bateman, Zach Wilson, Gregory Rousseau. The answer that I'm going to go with here is Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. He got put in a really shitty situation with Urban Meyer, which is unfortunate for him. The other guy, Justin Fields. Justin Fields, I really, truly believe is going to have a major step forward. You don't have Matt Nagy there anymore. The offensive line can't be much worse than what it was. You're going to put more talent around him, hopefully, during this entire offseason. So those are my top two breakout players going into, we'll say, next season. Super chat coming in from Taylor Holland. What up, man? If no Rodgers or Wilson, crazy trade Lawrence to Denver for 4 first-round picks or Watson to Tampa for 4 first-round picks. I'll still say that the crazier trade is probably going to be Deshaun Watson because you wouldn't know whether or not he is going to play. But I don't know if I would give up 4 first-round picks for Trevor Lawrence. I have a lot of confidence in Lawrence. I like him a lot. But there were definitely at times last season where I was like, oh, man, that definitely scares me. But Denver has a lot of solid pieces with Noah Fant, Courtland Sutton. I know he's a free agent, or no, they ended up bringing him back. Jerry Jeudy, you got a lot of solid pieces around him, but I'll say it's the Deshaun Watson move. Another super chat coming in from the Pass Master. Mitch, do you think the Ravens or any team will sign Antonio Brown? Shout out to my son, Axel. Keep up the great work, Chat Sports. Hopefully I pronounced that right. If everybody wants to spam Axel down in the comments section, that'd be pretty dope. I hope nobody signs Antonio Brown. I hate that guy. He's a piece of shit, and excuse my language, your son's probably watching right now, but he is. He's a joke of a human being, and I hope nobody gives him a chance again. Now, if you guys want to bet on Super Bowl 56, whether you want to bet on the Bengals, whether you want to bet on the Ravens, if you want to bet on the coin toss, then you're an absolute degenerate. In fact, if you bet on the coin toss, you should probably call that number down there. But this is the best betting deal on the internet, chatsports.com/bet. Promo code NFL Daily gets you 125% deposit bonus. I'm going to say that again. If you don't go to this link, If you don't use that code there, you're not going to get the 125% deposit bonus. Put down $100, get $125 for free to bet with. Let's go to Treyway. Should the Saints hire Brian Flores after his lawsuit? If Brian Flores is the best candidate, then he should end up getting the job. I do not think that he should get a head coaching job just because he filed a lawsuit. I do think Brian Flores is very well respected in NFL circles. I don't think he should have got fired by the Miami Dolphins. I personally think that he is a top 32 coach in the National Football League, and if the Saints deem him that he is the best candidate, then yes, he should get the job. But if you're asking me straight up, should he get it just because he filed the lawsuit, my answer to that would be no. If Flores does end up getting the job, I know we've also done a whole bunch of head coach candidate videos here on Chat Sports. We're going to do a whole bunch of stuff like that the entire offseason. So all I want you to do, look underneath the video. There's a big red button, okay? I want you to click that, turn it gray, then you're going to be subscribed to Chat Sports. But also, it's really, really important this time of the year to turn on your notifications, because don't be that guy sitting around and be like, hey, did you hear that Aaron Rodgers got traded? Some dude's like, yeah, dude, that happened months ago. Don't be that guy. Subscribe, turn on those noties. Let's go to Winter Skull 69. Should Miami trade Gaskin or Davante Parker? I mean, you're going to get more out of Davante Parker than you would Myles Gaskin, who was a 7th-round pick. The issue is this. Davante Parker, nobody's going to debate his talent. Nobody's going to debate how good of a player he can be. But he's always injured, and he's wants a little bit too much money. Miami essentially gave him a hefty deal after having one good season. Are teams maybe interested in Parker? Winning teams? Sure. I just know if I was an NFL organization, I wouldn't pay Davante Parker the amount of money, and then on top of what you're going to have to give up to go out and get him. We got N1GHT Fox. I think it's Night Fox now that I say that out loud. Who should the Broncos target at quarterback? I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers, right? I mean, you have Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr in that division. You have Nathaniel Hackett now as your new head coach. It's Aaron Rodgers as number 1. Then you go after Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson as number 2 and 3. If you can't get any of those guys, then maybe you pick up the phone, you try to give Kirk Cousins a call. I mean, there's good quarterbacks out there. And for Denver, your first guy that you got to pick up the phone and try to call is Aaron Rodgers. Passmaster, another super chat so far today is MVP. Mitch, who do you have in the Super Bowl, Bengals or Rams? Think I answered this already. I took the Bengals, and if you want to take the Bengals too, go put your money where your mouth is. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code NFL Daily. Let's go to Brendan Hellinger. What pieces do Dallas need to win? What pieces do Dallas need to win? It's a good question. I would say they need to upgrade their defensive line a little bit more. You got to find more stability, I'll say, in certain guard positions, no doubt about it. I mean, they have the offense. They have the offense to be able to compete right away. I understand that people love talking about Diggs because he led the league in interceptions. He also gave up the most yards in NFL history this past year. Tom would probably put a hole through his table if I said this. You need to go out and get a safety. I mean, he's the secondary of the Cowboys needs to get a little bit better. But I think they're a lot closer to winning a Super Bowl than not being close to winning a Super Bowl, if that makes sense. Now, here's my next question. I wish I was out in Las Vegas for this, but unfortunately, I'm not. I'm going to be stuck in Dallas, and it's going to be 19 degrees. I'm going to be freezing my nipples off. But will you guys be watching the Pro Bowl? I want you to type P for Pro Bowl or type N for No Bowl. I usually do not watch the Pro Bowl, and the amount of N's that are coming right now in the live chat doesn't surprise me at all. Though I do like the skills competition. I was a fan of when they did like the whole dodgeball thing. But, the players don't take it all that seriously. I do think it's a good opportunity to try out new rules, a good opportunity to try out a few new things with how bad as what the NFL officiating has been in the playoffs and realistically major points of the season. I'd be interested to see if they can get robots involved. I mean, if AAA baseball can do it for umpires, why not in the NFL Pro Bowl game? Let's go to Oyster Brew. That sounds like the worst beer I've ever heard of. It tastes like real oysters. Claypool was listed in a trade article from ESPN. Should Pittsburgh trade him? I personally like Chase Claypool. I know he's entering year 3. He was basically a tight end at Notre Dame, 6'4", 250 pounds, good athlete. I'm going to say, this is my guess, I think he had 109 targets his first year, 105 targets this past year, so the numbers did go down a little bit. Deonta Johnson is clearly the number one. With Juju Smith-Schuster also being a free agent, that makes me a little bit nervous in terms of moving on from Claypool. If you still think that Pittsburgh can compete, then my answer is no. If you're like, well, we're going to do a rebuild on offense because we just lost Ben Roethlisberger, then my answer would be potentially. What up, Cole? Appreciate the super chat, brother. Aaron Rodgers to the 49ers. Oh, man, Chase is loving this. Sending Jimmy plus picks. Trey Lance rides bench like Young did behind Montana for 2 years and actually develops. Thoughts? The only reason why I don't think that the Green Bay Packers do this is because, I mean, we got to face this, all right? Like, I don't think the Packers do it because they have Jordan Love, who they drafted in the first round. I think it makes a little bit more sense for San Francisco because they are absolutely a quarterback away from winning the Super Bowl. And I forget who talked about it, but, you know, the whole expression, if you can't beat them, join them. Aaron Rodgers has never really been able to beat San Francisco. He could go there. They would be the favorite, in my personal opinion, out of the NFC. I just don't think it makes sense from either side. So for that reason, I'm going to simply say no. Now, if I don't get to y'all's questions, I'm sorry. We got over 420 people watching right now. I do appreciate everyone who's tuned in, but my DMs are open for a reason. I'm more than happy to answer questions. I am going to be doing an Instagram live this weekend, though. I usually talk about the Raiders because I do a lot of stuff for the Raiders Report. But whether you got a fantasy football question, dynasty questions, you want to talk about sports at any point, we're an interactive YouTube channel, but I also know sometimes it's going to be hard to talk to people on YouTube, so don't be afraid to hit me up on IG as well. Johan, what up? Should Miami trade up to get a better prospect? If so, then which team? If not, who do you think Miami will select 29th overall in the first round? Johan, what I would tell you is go check out our Miami Dolphins YouTube channel where I actually broke down 10 prospects that I thought the Dolphins could take at 29. Usually, I'm not team trade up, and for this example as well, I'm going to tell the Dolphins to not trade up at 29. Maybe you can get an offensive lineman to fall to you. Maybe you can get a wide receiver like a Chris Olave that ends up falling down as well. I like Raymond, the kid out of Central Michigan, but I'm going to say no because the Dolphins have so many pieces that they need to be able to build around, whether it's running back, wide receiver, offensive line. Hold on to your picks because if you're going to go up in the first round, you're probably going to have to give away some of those first rounders. You got 2 next year, so no. Let's go to Grillix. Should the Seahawks re-sign Rashaad Penny? It depends how much. I get the numbers that Penny put up at the end of the year are bananas. Once the people fantasy titles, he was incredible. He finally looked like he was worth that first-round pick, which was back in, 2018? He's had tons of injury issues. He's had only a really good 5-game sample size. And if I was running Seattle, I would try to invest my money in other areas, especially because you already have Chris Carson. If it's a cheap deal, sure. If Penny wants like $5-6 million a year, then no, I'm going to tell him to shove it. Let's go to Isaiah. Are we underrating the Commanders if they get a quarterback? God, that still sounds weird, especially in that division. Yes, I mean, I also think that Washington is a solid quarterback away from being legit. When you look at that defense back in 2020, they were really good. I do think it's kind of funny and strange that the Washington defense got a lot better after Chase Young's injury. They started to perform pretty solid. But you have a hell of a running back. You got good wide receivers, got a good tight end. And if that defense can step up, yes. On top of that, is anybody confident in the Giants? No. Eagles, they made the playoffs, but they're still a little bit of a hard team to wrap my mind around. I get that the Cowboys are legit. But yeah, the Washington football team, or now Commanders, they won the division just 2 years ago. So if they get their hands on a solid QB, they can be legit. Last question here on the first mailbag. I'm the man. Who gets biggest break from Brady retiring? Young stars, Mahomes, Allen Jackson, or OGs, Ryan, Cousins, and Rodgers? For the question that you presented, I'm going to go with Matt Ryan because he was in Brady's division. He was going to have to play him twice a year, and if he wanted to try to get by him, he also lost to him in the 28-3 game. So for that reason, I will say Matt Ryan.